Hey everyone, welcome to the Pawareness podcast, and thanks for joining me. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, and also check us out at pawareness.org and on Instagram at pawareness_official. On Instagram, we are doing submissions for Pet of the Week, where you can submit your foster pet and we'll pick one winner every month and we'll give $200 to their choice of charity or foster. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Pawareness podcast. Today I have Christian Solis and Joe Federico with Stray Paws Animal Haven, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, kind of a little bit about their organization, maybe where they're located, and we can go from there. All right, guys, feel free to introduce yourself.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Joe Federico.
I am Christian Solis.
We are both with Stray Paws Animal Haven. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We started a couple of years ago. I'm a co-founder with another associate who's not here at the moment, and Christian joined up with us this year. 2 years ago, we began trying to emphasize what's called TNR, Trap, Neuter, Return, which is a free community-based program to help balance the overpopulation of stray and homeless cats, the community cats that gather and work their way into neighborhoods and to bat their eyes at the windows of those who fall in love with them and begin to care and feed them and help them. The additional needs of fixing them to prevent the overpopulating of these congregating cats has been a challenge to be able to get more of that done rather than having cats removed or endangered. So what we provide is a very well-practiced, humane process of getting the cats confidently into traps, brought to our location or to other locations that we transport them to for surgical practices, which include the spay neuter, rabies vaccine, the FERCP immunity boosting vaccine, and a 1 month supply of flea treatment for skin conditioning and internal workings of even some of the parasites that are not on the skin but inside the cats, sort of a deworming process. So getting them healthy, getting them strong, getting them more independent is our objective so that they can be safe and more of a functioning part of nature rather than a community problem. And we've been very successful in our first 2 years of getting the support we need with the surgical practices and the doctors and staff that help support the surgeries and the examinations of the cats for what they might need before releasing them. The whole process involves education first. We teach the community all about the importance of this and the safety of this, the humane practices that we offer. It's all done for free. People are learning how to engage with the cats to get them safely into traps, brought into our organization so they can have their operations. They will go back the same day to the people who trap them and hold them overnight before taking them back outside and letting them go right where they were. The whole plan is that when people sign up with us, they learn how to do it properly, safely, and with appointments, believe it or not. So when they go out and they entertain the cats with meals and trapping, they will catch them the night before surgery and hold them home overnight, safely, covered, and well protected. They will transport them to our location, which is in the beautiful little city of South El Monte, and we have a facility where we can then stage them ready for surgery on that morning and bring them out of surgery so they can take them home and hold them for a night of recovery with some real good observation, make sure they're okay. And by the next morning, the surgical practices are so thorough and so intricate that the cats can recover overnight and then be released from the trap right where they were found. Now, the surgery is included, the vaccines are included, the health check is included, the parasite treatment for fleas and internal parasites is included. And what is also included is an ear tip to signify that the cat has been cared for and is still being cared for, and he's been fixed and he's healthy and should be left alone, and nobody should trap him again. Nobody should take him away, endanger him by possibly bringing him to a shelter where a feral cat or a community cat that does not have social skills will not survive. they're not adoptable. They need to go back to where they were so they're comfortable and in their own safe environment. They live and thrive and become a little bit more balanced on a natural way. We reduce the intake to what we hope is zero at the shelters so they don't have to deal with fractious animals that are in some way in their possession at a shelter where there's nowhere to adopt them to. So they get to stay where they belong, and everybody else gets to do more of what a shelter or what I suppose a home ownership cat should be about. And that is to take care of the cats that need protection indoors, need a place to live, and get the adoption abilities that they deserve. What we deal with is keeping cats from multiplying so much that it creates too many of those situations, and fosters are overloaded, and rescues are overloaded, and shelters are overloaded. If we intercept these population issues at the street level, at the community level, everything else will filter and cascade into a much easier climate for all of those other organizations. We've seen dramatic changes and reductions of intake in shelters. We've seen dramatic reductions and ease of handling rescues and fosters and adoptions by those who do trapping and have their rescues and their foster work going on. We blend into many, many levels of assisting the animals, the cats primarily, that they need to have. And with associates like good trappers, good fosters, good shelter operators, even animal control, who in some ways, in many communities, only answer complaint calls and take the animals to the shelter for their eventual demise. They're happy to know that's not going to happen anymore. They're in full support of what we do. They will even announce to a call coming in when they arrive at the property that this is a community issue and we help take care of community problems. They refer them to us. Rather than citing or coming down hard on a property owner, they give them a solution, and we're it. We've been doing this now for the community, and the community has really responded. We're really hoping that now that COVID is seemingly coming down in its restrictions, that we will soon be able to get back out there and do events, attend school functions, and educate everybody from kindergarten to college, everybody who's in the community with HOAs and are upset about some population problem that's going on or what they have to do when they find kittens in the backyard. We're here to help. We're here to help them all for free. We're here to educate them and take them by the hand and hopefully help them pay it forward and teach someone else about what's going on. And we've seen this happening as we've been here in this little town. If we can get this town to understand all of that, and if we can get this town to realize that there's a lot safer, less expensive ways to treat animals than to bring them into a shelter system where they can't get out of. There's a lot better ways to be kind and compassionate and neighborly than just complaining about what's happening in the neighborhood and blaming it on your next door neighbor. We have a way to settle things down in this community and demonstrate this so that all communities can see the benefit of being kind and humane rather than reactive and removal. A lot of misconceptions about removing cats that occupy a property for a long time, and they get in the way of the neighborhood. The neighbors will want to remove this colony, sometimes 10 to 15 cats that are occupying a couple of yards will be removed. But what happens is called a vacuum effect. Just removing cats indicates that while the cats are gone, it still was a cat area. Other cats sense this. Other cats know and realize and recognize that those that were guarding an area before are gone, and they'll move in. So you start the whole process repetitively. But by getting them trapped, neutered, and returned, then they slowly lose their numbers naturally, and they protect the area that they're responsible for. And they keep other cats from coming in because what's theirs is theirs and what's not stays away. When the one or two start to fall by the wayside by natural means, the others can step it up and protect the area with a little bit smaller team. But if you carve out a whole colony, you're asking for more cats to come in and start the whole process again. So what we've done is take what takes a while to get a number of cats to be a problem. It takes a while for the problem to reverse itself, but it's harmless, it's quiet, and it's noticeably different in an immediate fashion. They don't all have to grow old and pass away to make a difference. By fixing these cats and taking away the midnight dating and taking all of the territorial issues away that come with, spraying and smells and contamination and things that people are worried about, by keeping them monitored, by keeping them healthy, and by keeping others from joining in and multiplying, the area begins to resume a natural process of rejuvenating nature and getting the cats to calm down their numbers normally. And just by not participating as much, you see less of them. They are not participating with each other, chasing the girls and so forth. We have an opportunity to demonstrate that cats are important and they have a job out there and that they should be returned, because you don't want the balance to go the wrong way and not have enough cats. And now what do we got to do is call everybody about the rats that are in the neighborhood or the problems with this or that that's coming along, because they are not there to do their job anymore. Of course, when we find youngsters and babies that are involved in the yards and they have these parts of the colony mix, we do want to get those someplace safe and someplace social, and assuming they're young enough to become social, a safe home through a proper foster and adoption organization. So we're in touch with the right people. We're in touch with the community. We're in touch with what needs to be done to make these cats more respected and live their life with dignity. With a tipped ear, that cat has more dignity than most of the neighbors that don't want to participate or don't see the right way we're doing these things. And the cats really have, I think, understood that when they are respected properly and they're not overindulged by overfeeding or over-involvement from, people who don't keep the population under control. If everybody did a little bit to help, a lot could be done. If we could control the multiplying of the population, then the behavior becomes a lot less aggressive. It becomes a lot less multiplying, just because they're, in a sense, comfortable and they're not running scared and running hard, and they're not running about what means most to cats and multiplication anymore. It's about maintaining the comfort they have. That's my own personal belief. And it's a little stretch and it's a little hard to go on about, but I do believe that they appreciate when they're cared for just enough and that they're properly altered so they don't have to suffer all the fighting and all the things that go on and the noise that comes with it. That's me. And I'm
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a really great intro for what we actually do. As you can see, we're very, very passionate about the TNR process. Our organization main objective is not only to, participate actively in TNR, but to also provide education. Education is one of the key goals that we have in the community. Is just reaching out to the community and communicating the importance of TNR in the community. And then also providing resources, because, there's a lot of people that are willing to participate in this process. They just don't have the resources. So the goal of our organization is, again, just to provide education and resources and make it accessible for the people that want to participate in TNR and the people that don't know, to educate them and have the resources available for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And a few questions after hearing that is, one is, how many cats in a couple of years have you guys been around? Approximately how many cats have you helped? And then also, what does that educational system kind of look like, right? Like, let's say, Joe over here has a house and I want to, trap, neuter, return. I have no clue how to do this. Sounds like you guys have this kind of like system down where you can kind of help these people take the right steps to take that slow and steady approach that you mentioned, as opposed to just removing the cats altogether. What does that look like? And like I said before, approximately how many cats have you guys seen through your doors?
Yeah, so we actually in the last year alone, I think we were close to around 6,000 cats. This year we're scheduled to do at least double that. So we're we really are excited that we are able to have such a significant impact. Again, the educational system that we have in place is, we do have training with our registration process. We have some videos that are available for training. We also have the ability to pair up some volunteer trappers that are willing to learn the process with some of our more experienced trappers and have them go out and actually show them how to do it. Members of the public who are maybe a little bit skeptical about getting started in the process, a lot of the times we will actually send one of our experienced volunteer trappers out to not only help them get the process started, but show them how to do it and empower them to participate actively in that process so that they are confident enough to continue taking care of that colony. Our goal is to really have a TNR captain in every neighborhood that is empowered and knowledgeable enough to actively monitor the colonies that are out there and continue the training through the knowledge that they've acquired through our program into the neighborhood and empower other people to participate as well.
That's really cool. And what are you guys doing differently? I mean, that's a lot of cats, right? What would you say? I know this is kind of a big question, but if you were to isolate maybe one or two things that you guys are doing really, really well right now, especially, I'm sure COVID's probably changed some dynamics of things as well, which we can get into that. But what are some things that you guys feel like you do really well with maybe your education or your whole process? What do you think?
I think one of the key factors that has led to the success that we've had is the ability to reach out into the community and really connect with people in the community. And also the ability to be flexible enough to use different resources that are available to us and make those resources available to the people in the communities that we service, right? So we don't actually have a surgical suite here at Stray Paws, which is kind of mind-blowing to some people because, we do such high volume, right? But through our partnerships with some of our local organizations that focus on just spay and neuter, we've been able to not only provide those resources for people, but also be able to build our capacity and expand on the flexibility that we have with using, different clinics and things like that. So
that's really cool.
Just say that we have, we've been blessed to have mobile surgical clinics that are used on our property. So they arrive just before the cats arrive, and we get them into the truck, and they do about 35 surgeries per surgical unit. And some days we have 2 of those surgical units on the property. So we're doing 70 plus cats a day. And it's quite an ordeal to get people trained and educated is the most important thing, as Christian said. But what we offer is an ability to help those who might have a gap in the process of borrowing traps, setting them up, catching the cats, overnighting the cats, bringing them here, picking them up at the end of the day, and recovering them at home. To almost 50 regular trappers that we're associated with, that is a normal standard practice and well understood and very comfortable. What we offer is some assistance if there's a gap. If there's a gap and they say, well, we need some transportation help. Well, we may be rounding around in our big van to pick them up. We may be keeping the cats here instead of at home, which increases capacity for those that want to do more. Most people can transport and store 2 or 3 traps and keep them at home safe and sound, get them in a safe location of their vehicle, bring them to us in the morning and go home, pick them up later on and repeat the overnight. But for those that want to do more, they can borrow 10 more traps from us. They can bring them here and we'll overnight them for them so that they can do more and not have to overcapacitate their house. We have the space here, which I think sets us apart from a lot of other organizations that do TNR. When we are able to assist those kind of small adjustments for us, those people that can do more because they can't complete every bit of the process, we kind of help them out. We'll get them the help they need. We'll get them the overnight they need. There's one of the biggest gaps though, and I'm going to go back to this over and over again, is the education. And I think according to what Christian and I have been saying, is that the biggest gap is the first introduction, and the people to understand that it's available, to know that there is this sort of an option and the solution. Nobody ever knew about it, or nobody ever gave it much credit until they discovered it enough to try it and see it working. And the more people are working it, the more it spreads. And a lot of word of mouth, a lot of word through the neighborhood goes on. And then we're referred to doing more and more help for those people. But everybody that I've mentioned so far are all volunteers. There's nobody paid to go out and trap. There's nobody paid to overnight cats. It's people that have a passion for this. And we've got a lot of trappers who do this because they want to see comfort and compassion. And it doesn't just go with the cats, it goes with the neighborhood. If there's education for that as well, that's what we want to provide.
That's really cool too. And about the volunteering, how does someone, if they're passionate about this, how do they get involved? I know that you guys are located in one area. Do they have to be in your area? And if they aren't in your area, what can they do if they want to help with something like this?
So we actually we have a defined service area for that we actually service. It's about a 20-mile radius from our warehouse here. We welcome any volunteers there. People can sign up to volunteer with us through our website. If they want to take care of their own colony, we have a registration process under our education tab, which will again, most importantly, educate them on the process that we have for, setting the traps, the do's and don'ts, some of the safety tips, so that they already have a sense of what to do when they register to become trappers with us. And then, we'll reach out to them and answer any questions. So by the time they're ready to start trapping and volunteer their time to trapping in their community, they're fully aware of what the expectations are, what some of the challenges may be. They've had somebody to ask questions to, if somebody wanted to volunteer and go out and actually trap other colonies, right? Maybe they don't have cats in their neighborhood that they identify as needing trapping. So they can actually register as just volunteer trappers, and we will assign colonies to them. For people that maybe aren't as willing to get into the trapping, they recognize that these cats are in the neighborhood and want to do something about it, but just aren't necessarily willing to get involved. We have those trappers that are able to go out and do that. So if somebody's willing and able to do that, they can register also on our website through our volunteer application. We can pair them up with a experienced trapper that can show them the ropes and some of the tricks of the trade, and get them confident enough to where they're later on able to go out and look for their own colonies, or as they're engaging in these communities, find their own projects to actually work on. So those are the two main ways that we get people involved in the process. Again, the key thing for us is always education. That's where it starts for us. You can have all the equipment in the world. You can have, all the surgical suits in the world. But if you're not educated and passionate about doing it, you're not really going to get very far. So we really, really focus on education.
Education, participation, and donation. Those are the things that keep us running.
I love it. I can tell you guys are just really passionate about this. And I think it's really motivating too. I mean, you guys have been around two years, and you already have doubled. You're like on pace to double the cats you did the year before. And that kind of leads me into, what are some of your goals? Like I know that you mentioned, what are your goals with this? To keep doubling cats every year. I mean, that you work with, expand. I don't know. Is there a nationwide trap, neuter, return kind of? Is there one business that does that, or company or organization? I'm not familiar with it. I'm just wondering if you guys know.
Well, Christian, why don't you tell them how we're going to be that company pretty soon?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, we are in the works of developing a process with one of our other rescue partners on how to do high intensity TNR. So we're working on this project. It's an 18-month project, and it's a study. It's very heavily data driven. And this, all this data that we're going to be able to collect will actually allow us to implement some processes that are repeatable in other areas, right? So what our goal is to bring this type of program at this level of capacity with, having such a high impact with, very minimal resources, or very, I guess, not as many standard resources or the standard way of doing things, right? Like with, having an actual hospital and things like that. So we want to get this a system put together that anybody at any location can kind of replicate. And the project that we have working right now is actually going to allow us to put those processes together, collect the data that we need, adjust for some of the things that we will find as opportunities to improve, and then take all the really good practices that we've learned and package it all together, and then move to a different area and start the process again. So our hope is to bring TNR everywhere, and not just, at the volunteer level, but at the city level and, county level, so that people can have the knowledge, not just through, organizations like us, but it would be a program that's built into their actual city and promoted by the city. And cities can identify this program as being a real asset to their budget, and we can actually use shelters for what they're meant to be, and for displaced pets and things like that. So that would be, I guess, our ultimate goal, and how we see ourselves expanding. It's just being able to bring our process and our way of doing things to pretty much everywhere, at least in the Southern California area, if not, statewide and nationwide, ultimately.
Yeah, we're trying to work in a community that is surrounded by 20 miles of opportunity for people to use our services. But we're based in a community where we're zeroing in on a highlighted, high intensity effort to one zip code that will scrub and do TNR as much as possible for 6 months, and try to achieve a 75% accountable TNR for all the cats that are noted in the community. And then go back and do another 6 months of the same thing, and bring as much of that number of needed TNR practice to that zip code to reduce and make sure all the cats are fixed. By doing that and demonstrating the completion of something like that, and as he said, with the budgetary dollars being saved, and the efforts of shelters to be able to do more with their money and things like that, we should be able to accomplish an assistance from that community, which we can take to every community and show them that it's beneficial economically, it's beneficial in the state of humanity that they want from their neighborhood. We're there, and we're going to make this move into bigger and bigger radiuses, so that we can demonstrate to all areas of the country that you should have a program like that. We're working on a specific database that will account for all the colonies that are cited, acquired by any trapper, completed by any trapper, where the cats have gone, how many were actually taken care of, and just real good accountability, so that it demonstrates the benefit for the property they're on, the property they're maybe going to, if they're moving in a direction of adoption, or if they're staying out of shelters. All of those statistics will be able to demonstrate, and we hope, rather than just having one location to demonstrate and work on clinics that arrive here and do the surgical work, we can have multiple locations and be able to do 6,000 cats a year in every community.
That's amazing. And I think it's so awesome always talking with not only passionate people, but just really ambitious as well. And we're going to have to further along the process, down the road, I cannot wait to talk with you guys again and hear how this is going. So I think that's fantastic. And okay, so like, let's kind of wrap up here. Where can people find you at? What, on social media, website? Where can we? All right, there we go. We got. I love it. We got the sign right now. You can see the sign right now if you're watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We also have our website, www.straypawsanimalhaven.org, and our handles at Instagram is at Stray Paws Animal Haven. Same for Facebook, and we actually have a hashtag that we use. It's called hashtag TNR Strong. So that is our handle name for Twitter. So that's
awesome.
That's where people can find us.
And all of that, no matter where you're listening, will be in a link in the description below, all nice and neat for you guys. I just want to thank you guys so much, Joseph and Christian. Thank you so much for just coming on and just talking with me. And I learned a ton from you guys, and I can't wait to talk with you guys again. But once again, thanks a lot for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it was great chatting with you, and we look forward to giving you some updates when we have more to share.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I can pan back, or however you call it, and say goodbye properly. And to that final note of where you can find us, we are what we
there we go. TNR Strong on the mask.
Stay safe and keep trapping.